It's the big story beyond your borders. Millions of Zimbabweans head to the polls today to elect a new government. 11 candidates are contesting the seats, but Emmerson Mnangagwa from ZANU-PF and Nelson Chamisa from the CCC appear to be the front runners. Now, the 2018 election was said to have had multiple errors, Mnangagwa narrowly beating Chamisa. Let's get you a sense of what we can expect today. We'll bring in Advocate Wilbert Madinde, who is the Acting Executive Director for the Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum. But first, let's touch base with our reporter, Audrey Chimwanda, who is in Zimbabwe for us this morning. Audrey, it is now 14 minutes to go before the polls open in Zimbabwe.
And the sun rose a few minutes ago, Michelle, and it rose with citizens of Zimbabwe as well as they came out in their numbers. We're outside of a polling station, and we've seen snaking queues that are going around this building, and there is different demographics. People have come out to really make sure that they exercise their vote. They seem to be supporting what...
All right, we do apologize that connection with Audrey Chimwanda is a bit touch and go. We're going to try and re-establish that connection, and while we do that, bring in Advocate Wilbert Madinde, who is the Acting Executive Director for Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum. Advocate Madinde, it's great to have you with us on the program. Snaking queues this morning where Audrey is. What does that tell you about the hunger for change in Zimbabwe?
Good morning. The situation is that elections happen every 5 years, and every 5 years there is hope for everyone who believes in the electoral system. So basically, once they are snaking queues, it means that people have yet at the call to turn out in large numbers for the elections, and we certainly then start looking forward for the best.
Yeah, free and fair elections is what every country hopes for when we go to the polls, right? What do you reckon are the chances of that being realized in Zimbabwe today?
Nil is the answer that I will immediately give. I believe free and fair elections are possible if the situation is conducive before, during, and after elections. And the situation that we have seen before the election does not incite an environment in which elections can be free and fair. And we say so because we monitor the human rights situation on the ground, and in terms of our monitoring of human rights situation on the ground, we have had to respond to so many human rights political activists, and in particular from the opposition who have reached out to us to be represented for being arrested and incarcerated for electoral activities linked to the elections. We have a group current of almost 40 who were denied bail yesterday and therefore have lost an opportunity to vote. We have people like Job Sikala who have languished in prison for more than a year now. And we have also represented other groups from Nyatsime and Chitungwiza. We have represented people from Gokwe. We have represented people from Bulawayo. We have all been arrested due to various transgressions allegedly. But one thing which is important is that these are all mainly people from the opposition who have been arrested. And we do not have any records of people from the ruling party being arrested other than the few instances where we have simply been told that investigations are underway, but with no arrests being made.
Yeah.
Laws have been changed in between, with some which should not apply in this particular electoral period still being brought in, mainly through statutory instruments, and that basically is something which is worrying. The death of a supporter in Glenview is something which continues to be worrying as well. And therefore, we cannot then immediately say that the situation is conducive to the production of a free and fair election. We are worried that from time to time, we have seen election observer missions coming in belatedly, coming in like 2-3 days before an election, observing the situation, attending final rallies, and are those that are the first to issue a clean view in terms of the electoral environment. And we say that's not how elections really should be observed. We believe people should take time to observe the election thoroughly before the election, before they are quick to say that the elections are free and fair.
Yeah, Advocate Madinde, as you say, it's not just about going to the elections on election day. It's the days preceding and the days after. Don't go away, Advocate. Let's bring in our reporter, Audrey Chimwanda, yet again. She is in Zimbabwe for us. Audrey, tell us again exactly where you are. And when we lost you earlier, you were talking to us about those snaking queues.
That's right, Michelle. Snaking queues this morning as a number of people have come out here. We're in Kuwadzana, one of the biggest townships here in Harare, and we got a sense that people are quite eager to take part in this election. It's very quiet, it's peaceful, people are going about their business. Those that are not voting are in their homes, and those that have decided to come out are actually in the snaking queues. I was saying a bit earlier that we got a message in the form of a statement from the Speaker of Parliament in Zimbabwe to officially declare the 9th Parliament of Zimbabwe dissolved. Of course, clearing the way for this poll that has to happen that will elect a new leader, members of parliament, senators, and local government representatives. I want to try and get a sense from the people that are here to see if they understand the process that they're taking part in. We spoke to them a bit earlier, and they were telling us that they're feeling confident just before the polls open, but I want you to hear it from themselves. Very good morning, sir. Thank you for speaking to us on Newzroom Afrika. How are you feeling this morning about this process that you're about to take part in?
Feeling good because this is the day that we are waiting for a long time, and we need to vote in peace until the results come out. As you see, the line is go far away from this side, and we believe so that you can see some different new faces in this election. Thank you.
Thank you for that. A lot of information has been put out. If you look outside the polling station, just right, we can't get in now. There is what is called the voters' roll that literally has everyone's details, their name and surname, their ID number, to confirm that they're actually supposed to vote here. Just a few weeks, months before this process started, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission went through a delimitation process where the constituencies were dissolved. So a number of people were a bit worried to see if they're going to be able to vote at the polling stations that they remember. Let's try and see if we can speak to more people. Very good morning to you, ma'am. Would you like to speak to us and tell us if you're well informed about the process that you're taking part in today?
Yeah, good morning. I'm happy to come here to put my vote because I want to change in our country. It's been a long time we're suffering, so we need a change.
Are there any particular key issues that you would like to be prioritized by the leader who will come victorious after today?
Yeah, the children, school first, and education. We want a free education for our children, and in hospitals we need medicals. In hospitals we need medicines. I think even those who have got our children now, they've already finished their universities, they've got degrees. What can I say? That beer, chitori or whatever, and a lot of our children are dying because there's no job.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. Very fundamental issues, Michelle, that are being raised by people that are waiting to vote here. Issues to do with education. They think of their children and the future. They say they want to see a change. We are going to be here throughout the day, obviously updating our viewers on how the election day is happening here. Back to you, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks for that, Audrey. Let's bring our guest back into the conversation. Advocate Wilbert Mandinde. A lot of discussion there with our reporter, Audrey, about the need for change. The people that she spoke to there outside that polling station. There's clearly a mood on the ground where Audrey is.
Yes, I was able to pick that, but the issue at the end of the day is that in any election, there are those that are contesting. Some want to maintain the status quo, some want to change, but we look forward to the results which should be published, I think, within 5 days in terms of our electoral laws.
Wilbert, you were talking to us earlier about, the build-up to the election, what takes place on election day, and then, of course, what takes place after election day as those votes are counted. What's your take on the behavior of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and particularly on the pre-election conduct of the ZEC, insofar as the voters' roll was concerned?
There have been quite a number of issues, and I think worryingly is the fact that this election is something which, as NGOs, as analysts, and as inspectors, we seem to be worried about the number of high cases that have gone to court, where the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has been brought in, among other things, to demand the voters' roll, or among other things, to demand the final voters' roll. And on quite a number of issues, including also the removal of other candidates. The issue is we think this is an election whilst people are going out to vote, but there's also likely been already determined in the courtroom, and we also believe that there is a likelihood that, if including the final presidential results, we are likely to see an election petition. Not sure in which direction it will come from this time, but the court also becomes an integral part of the electoral system. And as we have seen, certainly we do have an electoral court. The NZEC has been a player in a large number of cases that we have not seen before. So the issues pertaining to the voters' rolls I have highlighted have been contentious, and we are not sure. When I personally speak, I also have a worrying situation of 4 voters in my household are in 2 different polling stations, 2 different local authority candidates that were expected to vote for, and you wonder how it happened that people staying at the same address find themselves at 2 different polling stations. But those are some of the issues that we see, and we'll still try to make the most out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of analysis on the fact that the ZEC has lost an opportunity to improve its own electoral integrity with all of those outstanding issues, including, as we've just discussed, the voters' roll. Advocate Wilbert Mandinde is the Acting Executive Director of the Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum. Advocate Mandinde, thanks very much indeed for your time. And of course, our reporter, Audrey Chimwanda, is on the ground for us in Zimbabwe as that country goes to the polls today.